Hey yo guys, so another episode of The Mandalorian has released, so without further ado, let's get right into the breakdown. So we begin where we left off with Mando waking up after Bo-Katan had saved him and wondering what happened, as he didn't expect the mines to be so deep, which Bo-Katan informs him that they weren't, but after the bombing had happened, it messed with basically the surface area, causing the caves to basically become deeper after ruining the surface. She then goes to ask him if he saw anything down there, which he says no, aside from, rock as he was plummeting. And then she goes to ask him if he saw anything living, to which he responds no. Like what? And she says nothing. And I'm pretty sure this is to keep hidden about the mythosaur being alive. The two then head back to the ship, where they are then followed by TIE interceptors who are attacking them because apparently Bo-Katan has scammed a few warlords, is what she had said. So they follow her a bit as they try taking her out, which he's able to easily evade, getting back onto Kalevala in order to get Mando to his ship to help her out. Once he gets to his ship, he helped take out the TIE interceptors. But of course, it seemed to be all a plot to distract them, as her home was essentially bombed by TIE bombers. She goes to pursue them, but Mando finds out that it was a trap, as there's a bunch more TIE interceptors and fighters to basically take them out. The two then jump into hyperspace to escape, which leads us to follow a different character throughout this episode. As we then cut to Coruscant, which we haven't seen since, if you watched Andor, you definitely saw it there, but it was more imperialized. But Coruscant during the nighttime, the last time we saw it like this was during the prequels. And actually, we ended up going to that same opera theater from episode 3, where Anakin and Palpatine were talking about, the funny Darth Plagueis the Wise meme. So that was pretty cool. We actually see it's Dr. Pershing who's taking the front, talking about his cloning research and how the Empire made him do bad stuff, and how he wanted to do it to benefit the world or whatever. And we actually learned that he was able to advance it off after learning from the Kaminoans. So the Kaminoans actually get name dropped here, and that's pretty cool. He goes to explain that he didn't, mean to do anything bad. It was just all to help for the greater good. And after the opera show, he then is met by other New Republic, high-class people, who are telling him for being brave for coming out, thanking him, and all that, which seems to make him maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but he accepts their kind gestures, and he eventually heads home, into which we see he's in a amnesty housing, which is a place where essentially the New Republic is, I believe, housing all of the ex-Imperial members and workers, so to basically rehabilitate them and have them turn over a new leaf, which is pretty cool. It's, having somewhere for all of the Imperials that were there, that weren't imprisoned, to essentially be housed there and just turn over a new leaf and start a new life. As he's walking home, he actually sees a couple of other Imperials gather around and just talking, and actually sees one of them he recognizes from back in season 2 of The Mandalorian, which is Alina, I believe was what her name was, as she was the person who informed Moff Gideon where the child was. And I could have sworn she got shot in that same episode, but I could have been wrong. It could have been something else. But anyway, she's there, and he's surprised to see her there, as he didn't expect anybody else from Moff Gideon's crew to be there. So he talks with the other Imperials, who go to reminisce about the Empire, what they miss, like stargazing and the clothing. And Pershing says that he misses the biscuits, the travel biscuits is what he missed. And they even discuss a few rumors regarding Moff Gideon, after his mention saying some thinks he escaped during his route to the War Tribunal, and others saying he got his mind, basically mind flared, essentially meaning it was erased. But after their discussions, Alina, or G28 as they call it, because they got numbers now, which is kind of weird to see the New Republic do, but they have numbers anyway, and G28 offers Pershing to essentially bring him around, show him off to places, and all of that, which he is skeptical, but takes up her offer. He then heads home, and as he's getting ready to go to sleep, actually is delivered a box of Imperial biscuits that he had talked about earlier, which is a bit of a coincidence, it seems to him, but he just takes them in, shrugs it off, and then sleeps for the night. We then cut to Pershing working at his office job, who is apparently just destroying or getting rid of old Imperial files, and also getting a bit of praise from his speech from the night before. Afterwards, we then cut to him and Alina, or G28. I'll go back and forth between the names. Just basically wandering around this little mingling festival area, and where she basically takes him on a tour of the place. She goes to talk to him about his work, in which he replies that the New Republic deems cloning as unethical, but she tries to rebuttal by saying that the only thing important is by helping essentially the people in their future. And we actually get to see a mountain. She takes him to a mountain, or the tip of a mountain, I should say, which is the only like remaining living thing on Coruscant, aside from the the living tree from we saw in Tales of the Jedi. But we get to see that, and Pershing tries to go touch it after being nudged onto, which a droid goes ahead and stops him, and the two have a laugh over the little mishap. We then cut to Pershing basically having this survey robot discussing with him on how he feels about work, how he feels about the New Republic, how he's feeling about himself, if he's under stress, which he says no to all the questions, that he's been very satisfied with what he's been doing, and then is dismissed by the droid. He then heads back to his living quarters to then see G28 or Alina sitting down, in which they continue to discuss the matters of his research and how she attempts to like coerce him into trying to continue it, and explains to him like where he can get these resources to continue his research for like a laboratory, which he is absolutely hesitant on and like doesn't want to do it, and ultimately tells her no and heads out. But we then cut to him back at his job, in which he's trying to salvage some Imperial files, and talks with one of the crew saying, hey, this could actually help the the New Republic. But they don't want to, or the New Republic doesn't want to, as it's essentially Imperial material. They don't want to use anything for the Empire, and I'll delve on this a little bit more as we get on farther after the end of this breakdown. But they don't want to use it just because it's Imperial, and he wants to use it, but they're saying no, and he's offered to like write a formal complaint or whatever about wanting to use it, but apparently it's no means, and that actually frustrates him, which after work we then cut him back with that same droid who's giving him the survey, in which he's answering all the questions a bit more reluctantly. And actually I kind of noticed this earlier, but he goes to touch his ear anytime it seems maybe there was distress somewhere, or it could be just remembering from when Cara Dune blasted the soldier that was right next to him and basically scraped off a little portion of his ear. But after essentially maybe lying to this droid, because he clearly didn't feel satisfied, he then goes back to G28's dorms and tells her that he's down. So the two make their way to a basically Imperial wreckage site where they scrapped everything Imperial, and as they head there, they're almost spotted by guard droids until finally eventually making it there, in which he begins to grab all the supplies. We actually get to see them go into an old Star Destroyer, which was pretty neat to see, and it's pretty worn down and pretty taken apart, but they find a lab in there nonetheless, grab what they need, find out they're being followed or chased, and trying to make their way out until eventually being caught. And this is where we find out that G28 essentially set him up for this heist, if you can call it that. He's then taken to this mind flare setup machine, in which he tries to plead, saying he was set up, it was a trap, to these Mon Calamari guys who don't believe him and say, hey, it's gonna be okay. And they're essentially using an Imperial device, because apparently what this device was for is to wipe the minds of people and turn it to basically mush and make them forget everything. But the New Republic has repurposed it for the use of getting rid of small memories, as it's absolutely harmless in small charges. So they go to tell him, say everything's gonna be okay, and once everybody leaves, G28 there watching it, mind you, and once everybody leaves, she then goes ahead and turns the dial up all the way, which I don't know why they would leave her alone in there with him, an ex-Imperial. I'm sorry, I don't know why you would do that, but anyway, they leave her in there, she turns it up, and basically is wiping his entire mind. We then finally cut back to Mando and Bo-Katan heading to the planet where the other Mandalorians are hiding out, and land down and are greeted by Paz Vizsla, who tells Mando that he's an apostate along with Bo-Katan, and calls her a night owl, which was her group that she formed during the Clone Wars, and that actually helped her rebel against the Mandalorians that followed Maul during his rule. and rain. Mando tells him that he's bathed in the living waters, in which Paz doesn't believe him, but he has proof. They go inside to speak with the armorer, who takes the vial from him, pours the water into a little cauldron, which shows her that it was the living waters. She goes to say that Mando has been redeemed and is no longer an apostate, and that Bo-Katan actually is redeemed as well, because she had informed him that she was there and bathed in the living waters as well, you know, when trying to receive him. And she has not removed her helmet since. So if she wants to, the armor informs her that if she wants to, she can leave at any time, but they are willing to basically accept her. And so everybody greets them. It's pretty cool, you know, seeing Mando's like being greeted by all the Mandalorians, you know, saying congrats, welcome back, welcome back. And then, you know, as same thing with her. And it seems like, I mean, it could be deception, but it seems like, you know, she's kind of like happy that other Mandalorians essentially are, you know, welcoming her back. But at the end of the day, it could just be a ploy at hers, because she does not agree with their ways. She's belittled Mando a lot for believing in what he does. But then after that, she kind of stares off at the little statue of the mythosaur they had on the wall, and then the episode ends there. So a bit of a interesting episode. I was kind of hoping we'd focus a little bit on Mando, but we did get some lore on Dr. Pershing, so this had to be done. So I'm not too upset with it. But what I am upset with is how this New Republic is. I am not liking this New Republic. This New Republic is yikes. So where to begin? One, they refused to use Imperial technology, which I get. It was from the Empire. It was terrible. But they did have some advancements that could actually help you in your new government. Like, you can use it. It's okay. Just repurpose it. You have problems using Imperial fighters, but you have no problem reusing the Mind Flare machine, which is like, what? Which is essentially, that's even worse than what these files could contain. This file is just technology that could help. But the Mind Flare was a torture device, and now you're repurposing it for rehabilitation? So that was a bit of a yikes there, especially when one of them said, oh, I used it on myself, too. It's really nice. And I'm like, I don't trust these people. Same thing with the New Republic and the guards just leaving G28 there. Like, you're just gonna leave her alone, an ex-Imperial, especially when the guy says it could be a trap. Like, even if you don't believe him, it's still not safe to leave an ex-Imperial person there by themselves in front of the control panel of the Mind Flare device. Why would you do that? So the New Republic is really dumb for that. And in all honesty, I'm just not liking the way things are going. It's looking like a big yikes. It's making me start to think, you know, no wonder they got destroyed by the First Order. Yeah, yikes. So there's that. But I did enjoy everything else. You know, Mando actually coming back and seeing him reformed, or not reformed, redeemed, sorry, and is no longer apostate. That's awesome. And then Bo-Katan is also part of the clan, if she wants to stay there, of course, is what the armorer tells her. But it's still cool nonetheless, seeing as they're all essentially reformed and they're no longer apostates. So I'm curious to see what we're gonna go next episode. I really hope they go back to the mythosaur. May Bo-Katan tame it, may Din tame it, who knows. I really hope we get to see that mythosaur again. It's very intriguing to me what we're gonna be seeing from that creature. But nonetheless, a very good episode, very lore-driven and world-building, which we needed this. So I'm not too upset, but it makes me look forward to the next episode because I'm curious what's going to happen. Please continue on with this Mandalorian, you know, leadership arc or whatever we're going through. But anyways, pretty good episode nonetheless. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry the breakdown came out a day later, but it's here nonetheless. So if you guys enjoyed, be sure to blast that like button, as this universe, subscribe if you enjoy the content on my channel, and hey, hit that bell notification too as well, because I do upload daily. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. dbzmando, signing out.